What is going on, guys? It is Tom here from the Blue Crew podcast to bring you a yearly review of stuff that's happened with the Chelsea FC men's team this season. It's been a long year for everyone. It's been a strange year for everyone, but there are so many good moments still to look back on over the year. So I'm going to bring you some of my favourite moments from 2020. First up, we're going to start off pretty basic. It's going to be my favourite game of the year. There's probably a few to choose from. I've sort of had listed the Manchester United FA Cup semi-final, the 4-0 win against Everton just before lockdown, the last game before we went into the first lockdown, the 4-0 win against Crystal Palace at the start of this year, the 2-1 win over Manchester City in the league after lockdown. They're all some of my favourites. I really, really enjoyed those games. But I'm going to have to go with our 2-0 win over Liverpool in the FA Cup. I think that was the same week of the Everton game. And that was Billy Gilmour. It was his masterclass that brought us a 2-0 win over Liverpool. A hugely rotated side on the day. Wasn't completely confident considering the team that we were playing. I think our front three was like Giroud, Pedro and Willian. It might even have been a little bit weaker than that. But the star of the show was Billy Gilmour in the centre of midfield. He ran everyone ragged. He did Fabinho, a beautiful little Cruyff turn in the middle, and I was at that game. The atmosphere was amazing. It was just a great win, and probably one of the best of Frank's career so far in management. Brilliant to get a win over the eventual champions of the season. What a win that was. Next up is going to be my player of 2020. Now, this one is a hard one for me. Now, the shortlist, I think, is going to be like, we've got Reece James, Mason Mount, Christian Pulisic, Kurt Zouma, and then I'll throw one extra one out there. Two. I'll throw two extra ones out there. I'll have Mateo Kovacic and also Thiago Silva. Now, if we go through those guys individually, Reece James, stunning breakthrough for him last season. He was good in his rotation. He scored one of the best goals of the year, which we'll talk about later, against Brighton. He's just a machine on that right-hand side. We're so lucky to have someone like Reece James. Next up, Mason Mount. What a year it's been for him, playing more regularly for England. You can guess almost certainly if the Euros were played this year, he would have gone to the Euros, and he will almost certainly go to the Euros next year anyway. It doesn't matter. He's that important. He is probably the most important player in this Chelsea side. He is absolutely fantastic. We are so lucky to have someone like Mason Mount. Moving on, I think I said Mateo Kovacic. He was Chelsea's player of the year for last season, so the 1920 season, which obviously involved last season. He was less involved after lockdown, I think, which is strange. But before that, between the sort of late 2019 into early 2020, he was one of the best players. His dribbling ability, he was fantastic. He's not going to be my player of 2020. However, a fantastic player, and he's probably my favourite player at the moment as well, despite the fact that he's not playing too much. And then another of the shouts was Thiago Silva. What a signing this guy has been. The ultimate professional. He's just a rock. He's so good. It reminds me a bit of when we brought Samuel Eto'o in for the season. But Thiago Silva's been better than that already. He's already been so much better than that. He is incredible. He's had such a good effect on this side. We need to keep him for next year. What a player he has been. But I think, undoubtedly, my player of the season is going to have to go to Christian Pulisic, because he really took us out of going through lockdown. He came out and he was just absolutely fantastic. One of the best Premier League players post-lockdown as well. His goals against Villa, he scored a goal against Palace, Manchester City, that little 25-minute performance against Liverpool. He looks like Eden Hazard again. Don't want to say it too many times. He was so good. He basically dragged us into the Champions League from the end of last season, and we needed that. This season we're yet to see his best, but wow, he is so good, and we're so lucky to have him. And if he can get back to playing consistent games, he can take us where we need to be. Next up on my list is goal of the season. Now, there were some really good candidates for this one. Mason Mount's strike against West Brom to get the comeback from about 25 yards out. Really nice dipping shot. I had Christian Pulisic's goal against Manchester City, where he ran from the halfway line in that brilliant victory for us. But I think it's between two main goals, and that is going to be Tammy Abraham against Liverpool away in the second to last game of last season. Christian Pulisic coming in from the left-hand side, darting between about 5 Liverpool players, crossing the ball in for Tammy Abraham. A stunning goal. It really just summed us up. We made 3 subs, I think, with half an hour to go in that game. Tammy Abraham, Christian Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi. And the fact that we nearly managed to come back in that game, fantastic. It was a memorable game. Unfortunate that we couldn't win it. No, that was a really good goal. It was so nice to see Tammy scoring as well when Giroud had been taking so much of the plaudits.
Pulisic, he's through here. He's got Abraham waiting for the tap in, and there it is. And the substitutes combine to immediate effect.
That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. What footwork from Christian Pulisic.
But I think undoubtedly, goal of 2020, Reece James's rocket, absolute pile driver against Brighton. First game of this season. We just been pegged back thanks to Kepa, but we move on from him. And Reece James picks the ball up probably about 30 yards out, and he unleashes an absolute tank of a shot into the top right corner, and that was the winning goal in that game. We did go on to get a third, but bouncing back so quickly after being pegged back by Brighton, it was just a stunning goal coming from Reece James of all people. That really summed up how good the guy was, and it let everyone in the Premier League know he is a serious talent.
Here's James. He might try it from distance and does! Oh! Anything Brighton can do, Reece James can do better. A stunning goal, and Chelsea have their lead again. That's answering a wake-up call.
What a strike that is.
Now, I'm not going to end on a negative, but we do have to hit one. Worst moment of 2020. Well, it's been a tough one. This past couple of weeks has given us quite a few. And actually, it's going to be between one of those and another result. I think the FA Cup final defeat, it hurt because it's Arsenal again. And it's between the 2 Arsenal games. The 3-1 defeat last week, or the FA Cup final. One's a cup final, one's against a team 15th in the league. Our levels dropped so much in both games. I really don't know which one, It's really hard to pick. So I think they're going to take the prize both of worst moment of 2020. Oh man, they were such horrible games. I mean, the FA Cup final, the refereeing was horrible, but we don't blame the referee. We were so bad, especially after going ahead. It's so disappointing to lose that game. Even though it didn't really feel like we cared that much as a fan base. It was just like, it's just a given that we were going to win it. So it just didn't really feel like that much. It meant a lot more to Arsenal than it did to us. And the game the other night, well, we do have to talk about that one again. Next up on the list, now we've had about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 months since the summer transfer window signing of the season. Who was my favourite signing of the players that we got? It's a tough one. I'm not going to go through each of them because I'm sure you've already heard more than enough about them. I think it's between 2 people, and really one comes out on top quite comfortably. We've got Thiago Silva, the Brazilian centre-back, spoken enough about him already. How good has he been? And I think also Hakim Ziyech. We cannot overstate how important Ziyech is to our side at the moment. He's not playing, and we're playing poorly. When he does play, he brings that creative spark, that arrogance that we need in our team at the moment. Wow. Hakim Ziyech has been better than I thought he was going to be. He's just that flair factor. He is that Bruno Fernandes type character from the right wing. You just don't know what he's going to do when he gets the ball, and that is something that we are really missing at the moment. The creativity, the flair, that ability to do anything on that left foot. Absolutely stunning. What a signing he's been. But I do think, without a doubt, it has been Thiago Silva. His level of performance has gone so far and above not only what we hoped, but what we expected as well. We thought he'd play a key part in rejuvenating this side, and he's done so much more than that already. What a signing Thiago Silva's been, on a free as well. Just a little shout out as well to Edouard Mendy. A huge improvement on Kepa. I thought he was going to continue that run. Unfortunately, as we've hit a dip, he's hit a dip as well. He is still a massive improvement on Kepa, and he has meant that we don't now need to look for a keeper as quickly as possible. I don't think he is the long-term answer, but he's been brilliant since coming in. He deserved a little shout-out. Finally, my favourite Chelsea Football Club moment from 2020. It's going to be on pitch. And it's between two. It is between the return of fans to Stamford Bridge against Leeds. What a moment. It just gave us a little glimpse back into normality. I know it didn't last for long, literally 2 games. But it was so good to have fans back, just for a game. You know, you could hear them, the booing of the Leeds centre-half. It was just an amazing feeling to hear the crowd again, to hear that authentic fan noise, the cheering, the booing, just the excitement and the buzz around a game, even though it was only 2,000 fans. Just a little glimmer back into some sort of normality. So important, so important. And then I think my other favourite moment would be the Wolves game, the last game of last season. Mason Mount's free kick to get us into the Champions League. We've already had some pretty decent moments in the Champions League this year. We want to go further. We've got ourselves that tie with Atletico Madrid. Let's not let that game, that moment, go down as not really being worth it just for a few group stage games. We've got to be more as a football club. Great moment, great game. It's been a pleasure, actually, making all our homemade content this year. Keep a track on us. Hopefully, we'll be back in the studio, back to making more consistent, higher quality content as we go on. But for this year, we've created a YouTube channel. We're doing more clips. We had a few amazing guests over lockdown that are just thriving in the world of football at the moment. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. And have a good new year as well.